Hi, everybody. My name is Samantha Lane, and I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing here at SE Shires. So excited for today's session. We love doing these weekly Shires clinics where we're teaming up with some of our artists and featuring different Q series instruments. This is a very exciting one because we have a couple exciting little Easter eggs for you, just in time for the holiday season, I suppose. But we have Mr. Joseph Alessi here with us today. We're so thrilled to be working with Joe on a variety of products and projects, and the fact that he's playing our instruments, we're just over the moon. But today we're going to be featuring his QAlessi Tenor Trombone and the brand new QAlessi Alto Trombone, never before seen. So this is a pretty exciting kind of thing. And then we also have another little sneak peek for you guys about another project that we've been working on. And we'll spill the beans on that too. But so today's session is actually going to be featuring both the Q Tenor and the Q Alto. And we actually just sent Joe the full production model of the QAlessi Alto. And so I think he wanted to do an unboxing for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So kind of
right.
you.
That's it right there with the plastic.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you. Thanks for inviting me
Yeah,
to
of
do
course.
this again. And yeah, we've been very busy at Shires, working on many projects. And so yeah, behind me we have over here we have a bass trombone that I've been playing on, and we got the cue right there, and there's a alto trombone here. And yeah, actually, just so you know, behind me, that's Leonard Bernstein. That's a signed, autographed copy of Leonard Bernstein, signed to me and Ricardo Muti, my old boss,
Wow.
and Zubin Mehta, my other boss. And anyway, all right, let's get down to business. So, the first thing I'd like to play, I've been playing on the Q Series Alto prototype, and I love that. And so, what thought I would do is just unbox, if you will, or unwrap the Q Series production model. So I have never played it before. This is the first time. So to prove to you that I'm doing that, I'm going to take it out of the wrapper. Okay. There we go. They wrap the products very well, Shire.
Of
And
the color team.
oh, everything is protected. The great thing about when you're shipped to Horn, it doesn't have those little peanuts, annoying peanuts.
Oh,
Uh, Styrofoam peanuts, they go all over the house, and your cat eats them, and that's kind of a problem. Okay, so here it is. We're just unwrapping it. This is modeled after my Tyne Alto with the small bell. So I used some of those attributes of that horn to compare.
and just for people who are watching, this is a 6.5-inch bell, so a little bit smaller than what we typically do on alto. So when Joe came and we were first starting to work on alto trombone development, it was the funniest thing because we literally put a bell back on the lathe and cut it while he was there, and it was really rough and like not all that pretty, and that's what you liked.
What is this thing for, by the way?
And it's like, I don't know, it's like a tarnish strip there kind of thing. I don't know. Don't eat it.
Okay.
Don't give that to your
Okay.
cat. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So here we go, and I'm going to perform the Wagenseil alto trombone piece. First movement. Let's get the intonation correct. Let's grab a mouthpiece, and let's get the music. Hold on. Okay.
All right.
And I'm gonna put the Alessi Music Studio Orchestra on. Okay. Just about to be launched on the accompaniment. And I'm going to close my talk mic. Here we go.
Bravo.
Yeah, it's so much fun playing this instrument. And just like the prototype, I said um, previously, it kind of plays itself. So, and it feels very responsive, and the intonation is, you know, just what I expect. Um, I like the small bell, okay, because I have a very my sound normally is very tenor like, and I need something to be as compact as possible. So I like these the smaller bells in the alto trombone, any alto trombone that I play. So and anyway, it gives me more distinction between the tenor and the alto. Um, so as far as the legato and the way the slide feels, now this slide has nothing on it, so it's
Brand new.
it's it's perfect. It's perfect slide. So and that's the case with all of the slides that I've tried on any instrument with Shires, and so that's one thing I'm so happy about. This is built well. The quality, craftsmanship, any Shires horn you play, it feels like it's been taken care of. So I'm very happy about that. Um, let's see. Let's review maybe the altissimo register. Let's see what that
Yeah.
sounds like. So
Hey, Joe.
oh, sorry, sorry, I forgot to. Yeah, forgot to play the alto there for just a few seconds. But anyway. So yeah, it just feels great. And lately, I haven't been playing a lot of alto trombone, but it's just exactly what I expect. Um,
So you're okay with us moving forward with this then, since this is the first.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think we can safely say it's a wonderful horn.
Okay, good.
It does everything I want it to do. Let's try some other things. So that feels very nice. Sorry. That feels very nice. Um, let's see.
Just
Anyway,
for
I'm just thinking.
just for
Yes.
folks tuning in at home. So this is literally brand new, right? I just made the page on the website, so I linked that. I'll throw it in here again. So this is TBQ Alessi Alto. Okay. Um, it's the yellow brass bell, smaller diameter, like Joe's talking about, with a gold brass hand slide, lightweight. So it's actually some similar characteristics to his tenor models. So there's some really nice consistency. And we tried a whole bunch of stuff when we were testing this out: yellow hand slide, gold bell, yellow bell, a bunch of different iterations. And you kept coming back to this. We kept calling it like bell two, slide one, or whatever.
Hmm.
But it's interesting that there's that similarity between your tenor setup and even this alto, that consistency.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like the gold brass bell. Sorry, gold brass slide very much. It just gives me some more warmth to the sound that I like. And but I've always liked yellow bells, so I like the different alloys on the instrument mixed together. Um, and so and also the I like the tuning in not in the bell, but right here that and what I meant is tuning in the slide. I
Right. Yeah.
don't like I don't like the tuning in the slide particularly, uh, and I just don't like how that messes around with the sound and also the the weight of the slide. It adds a little extra weight to the slide. And this has male female uh, you know tuning slide, which is great. Um, and so I like that concept as well. So it just plays very free, and I can make music on this no problem. Let me play a little bit of the second movement of
Awesome.
the Wagenseil. Now this I have to find the right cue it up here. I didn't cue this up, so yeah, I'm ready for a concert tour with the Wagenseil. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so let's put this away. But if
Sure.
is there any
Well, no.
questions?
If you want to throw your talk mic back on real quick.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah. If there's any questions that I could entertain or
Well,
about this, that would be
maybe
great.
maybe before we get going, I think alto is, especially with the Q series, this is a really great price point for an alto trombone. And we have dealers all over the world who already have orders in for this. And so reach out to your local Shires dealer. I'll link our dealer locator for you here if you're interested in checking the model out for yourself. But maybe
Yeah.
some of your pedagogical tips for somebody who's just starting on alto trombone.
Oh, sure,
That
sure,
would
of
be great.
course. Yeah, and let me just talk about the Q series in general. It's a lower price instrument, but the quality is not low price. This quality, I don't think a lot of instrument companies have the lower price instruments, and you really feel a huge gap there between the pro line and the whatever more low budget line, let's call it that. But this is not a low budget horn. It doesn't feel like it. This feels like a professional horn. So there's nothing that's low budget about this horn at all. It's put together very nicely. It responds like a professional horn. You don't feel there's not any funky notes on it that I can find, none at all. Anyway, so I think that's I just wanted to state that. Now, as far as learning the alto, to be honest, alto, tenor, bass, it's all a trombone. So let's start with that. Okay, so all the basic things that you need to do on any of these instruments are all going to be the same. They're just different bores, and so I think the bass trombone for me is obviously the most challenging, just because I don't have a lot of experience playing bass. But as you can see over my shoulder, I'm starting to mess around with it and play the bass, and I'm recording stuff with the bass trombone. So I might play you a little bit of that a little bit later. But uh, as far as the alto, the way I learned it, I just started getting any excerpts that I could play. Well, first of all, my one of my teachers didn't believe in the alto trombone. He played everything on tenor, and certainly he could do that. Um, and so, in the case of the Rhenish, I think you should be able to play it both on the alto and the tenor. But certainly, it's to get the sound that you want. It's much easier to do on the alto trombone. But I just started learning. The first thing you have to do is know how to read alto clef on the alto trombone. So the way that I do that, it's kind of convoluted, but it's just the way that I learned. Is I look at the notes. Okay, I mean, just initially, eventually, you won't have to think about this. An E flat is in first position, etc. But I played piano when I was younger, and so learning C treble is important to understanding how to read the alto clef and playing the alto trombone. So I read everything down a third, okay, and so if I'm looking at E flat in alto clef, I'm looking at B flat for the positions just to have an association with what you've learned in the past. A B flat is in first position. So if you go down a major third and you put it in treble clef, it's now a B flat. Okay, so if I go to the next note, it's a G. Okay, so it's written a G in alto clef, but if you put it in treble clef all of a sudden and you read it a third down, there's a D. That's first position. So that's my convoluted way of learning. Okay, and everybody will have their own method. Okay, but that's the first thing. The next thing is just understand that the positions, everything's the same ratio, but of course, everything is spaced out the same, but the ratio is different. Excuse me, that's what I was trying to say. So everything is spaced out exactly correct. Okay, I never touch the bell to find third position. That'll give you a false pitch. Okay, and you shouldn't do that, because once you do that, again, folks, if you touch the bell, that's one of my pet peeves. Then everything is related to that area, and it's not. The third position is, in fact, a little bit lower than that, or longer than that. So anyway, just when I started playing, I picked it up. I didn't know what I was doing. I just started to play scales, and figure that out. So. Just start out with a little scale like that, and that's a good. Of course, you're thinking, oh, that's a B flat scale. I played the positions, but it's not. It's an E flat scale. So, okay, so the horn is pitched in E flat. So once you get that association, then what you could do is go up, go in the circle of fourths, and do your scales that way. That's the way I always do all my scales, circle of fourths. So anyway, that's what I would try. I wouldn't try reading bass clef, and I probably did that when I started learning. I took a Bordogni and I said, okay, I'll just play this and look at the bass clef, and just start playing Bordognis, but it's not the true pitch. So when you're looking at a low B flat, okay, it's not, of course. So it's an E flat. So I would recommend trying to find anything in alto clef first and just learn it that way. Okay, because when you play the alto, you're going to be mostly playing in alto clef. And I think to make that association right off the bat is probably a very good thing. Now, of course, when I was when I was that age, I didn't really know alto clef that well. I remember the day when I looked at alto clef, they put me in the youth orchestra, and I played Shostakovich 5, and it's all in alto clef, and I didn't know what I was doing, so I learned it was a crash course in alto clef. So anyway, um, the best thing is if you can't find anything in alto clef that you may want to play, but there's plenty of orchestral literature. The Beethoven 5 is probably a great thing to learn right off the bat. Um, my first professional job on the alto, I think it was playing a Schubert Mass in San Francisco, a pickup orchestra. And I will say one thing: some of my students they wanted to play the alto trombone at Juilliard, and they went into rehearsal and they thought it was an easy thing. They didn't tell me that they were going to go play the alto trombone, so it was a complete disaster when that person went in to play it, and the conductor yelled and screamed at him, and because he didn't spend enough time with the intonation. So the intonation is, we talk about micro tuning on the tenor trombone. It's even worse on the alto trombone. You have to find the exact place, and when you do move around intonation, okay, even just a little bit, it's a bigger result. Okay, the result is larger than when you do it on the tenor trombone. So it's really important to really check the intonation 110% before you go into any public playing the instrument in public at all. So I would say mouthpieces is very important.
I was going to ask you,
Okay.
somebody actually asked that question just a few minutes ago, so I'm glad you're going to bring that up.
Yeah. I play pretty much the equivalent of a 12C cup. Okay, with my rim. Now I've never been uh, a player that can play small rims, so I have to, and I know other players like this as well. If you can get away playing with a smaller rim, that is what you should do. Okay. However, there's a lot of us that can't do that, and switching rims is kind of an issue. So for me, it is switching rims is an issue. So I just use my own rim, which is quite large, and I have I can't tell you the exact specs, but it's the rim is my own rim, Mr. Griego made, and also the the cup is sort of a 12C cup. Okay, so it's a shallow cup. I find that students will try to play the alto with a cup that's too deep, and they hurt themselves playing the alto trombone. Okay, so I think the shallow cup is really important, and then try to find a throat size that is correct for you. So the model mouthpiece I play is the one A mouthpiece, and that seems to I don't have to think about it. It just fits on my face exactly the way it normally fits, and so the main thing is the biggest mistake I see is people using cups that are too large, and then everything's kind of flat, you know. So
That's
any
awesome.
other questions? Yeah, any other
Let's
questions?
see. We've had a couple things that have come through.
Hmm.
And it's funny too because we did a another alto trombone thing with Jim Nova last week, and he was saying the same thing, that the first time that he was expected to go in and play alto trombone in the orchestra at Curtis, just the sheer fear of like going in and not knowing what he was doing, and so how important he felt like it is for people to really like start to practice on the instrument, get to know it well in advance of having to be put on the spot playing it for an orchestral performance or a solo or something like that.
Yeah,
So
you have to kind of vet it yourself, and you should record uh, something and see if it's what you think you're doing, so to vet it that way. So yeah, I've let me tell you the repertoire that I play it on. I played for all the Schubert masses, any pretty much anything of Beethoven, anything of Schumann. Um, the Schubert Ninth is a little dangerous. Uh, because there's a lot of six position notes, okay, and seven position notes. So you have to be very careful of that. Um, so, something like the next time we do Schubert Ninth, I would like to try just a very small tenor. And I have tried a smaller tenor, but maybe even something like one of your jazz horns,
Right.
that kind of bore. Then you don't have to worry so much about you know the C's and the E's. Um, Sorry, C's and B's. So no, what I got? I'm all turned around here.
So much today.
E's and D's. Excuse me. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it is kind of a confusing day for transposition. Excuse me. So anyway, um,
We had another couple
yeah. As far
questions too that came in.
Sure.
If you don't mind on alto.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Sure. Sure.
let's see. Question about best way to practice Baroque trills,
Hmm.
and then also question about discussing like your breathing method for alto.
Okay. Sure. Let me just. I realized the phone was on here. Let me shut it off.
Oh,
Okay. In the Wagen style, um, you know, you have to come up with. Uh, you have to come up with. Does the note start? Does the trill start from the note or above the note? Okay. So you have an option. And is there also uh, a turnaround or a turnout at the end? So in the Wagen style, let's get that up. So we have these little trills. Okay, so and a lot of times you don't have to even you don't have to go to the actual note. You can fake it a little bit, but that's the way I would do that trill. I could do it differently. Actually, that's what I should have done the first time. But some people will go. Okay, but there's not enough time to do that here, and I think stylistically it's better to do the way I did it the first time. Um, and then you have trills like this. So I do that. I don't go on this. Maybe another piece I might. So I take each piece and I figure out the best way to do the trill. Some trills you have to fake. Okay, it's very hard to get the position, but the trill, what you do have to do is give the person the actual note that you're trilling from, and make them hear that, and then instead of moving back and forth between those two positions, you're actually going to come up with a fake note. Okay, so once the note gets going, as long as you hear the first note, once the trill gets going, as long as you hear the first note, then that's in their minds, and then it's just the quick trill, and this way it's a let's put it this way, it's just a um, easier sounding way to do the trill, okay, instead of moving back and forth quickly.
makes sense.
So yeah.
And then the other question was about breathing in alto. Do you think about breathing on alto any differently than you think about it on tenor?
Well, you certainly don't need to breathe as much, but no, it's the technique is pretty much the same.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you think? Should we talk a little bit about tenor? Maybe.
Yep.
Okay.
I got the Q series tenor right here. You have to be careful when you pick these instruments up because you could pick up the custom series without not even knowing it because they look identical.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, let's play a couple excerpts on here. that was the Berlioz Symphony Fantastique. Okay, so um, I think all the horns, they have the same characteristic. Every horn has the same characteristic, which is quick response. So I keep saying what I like about these horns is how quickly they respond. And whether you pick up the bass trombone or the tenor or the alto, it's all about the same. So that's great. So as far as this is concerned, this is you know a different price point, and but it doesn't feel like it. It just feels excellent. I've had reports from people, they're really enjoying this Q series, from teachers, and they brought the student bought the horn and brought it to the lesson, and the teacher tried it and said, "Wow, this is a terrific horn." So it's getting good reports, I
It really
think, out
is,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. Could you tell them a little bit about just the materials
Yeah,
and so
sure.
forth? And
So this is supposed to be and is truly modeled after the custom series version of Mr. Alessi's Tenor. So it's a modified two-piece lightweight yellow brass bell with an unsoldered bead. And so when we say like modified two-piece, it's a two-piece that's almost spun to reflect some of the characteristics of a one-piece. So like over your career, Joe, you've played a variety of horns, and there are different things that you like from different ones. And so as we were testing bells and we were doing all of this, and it was a lot of fun. We kept trying to rein things in and pinpoint certain characteristics that you liked. And so that modified two-piece in that lightweight yellow, but with the unsoldered bead, that really made a big difference. And so that was pretty neat. The tuning slide is a gold brass tuning slide with flanges, and then the valve section is that more open wrapped rotor. On the custom series, it comes with the bronze rotor cap. On the Q series, it's the yellow cap. And then the hand slide, like on the alto, like what we were talking about, is a gold brass lightweight slide. And let me just see, because I have to remember. Yeah, with a yellow crook. So
Mhm.
so that's and I just linked the model too, so people could click on over to it. Um, but like you're saying, like we've been getting amazing reviews about the horn. People are absolutely loving it, and it's in that price point where it's kind of priced like a entry professional or a step up instrument, but truthfully, it's a full pro horn, and it still has all the same special characteristics. It's a joy to play, and it's still compatible with the rest of the custom series too, which is pretty neat. So
Yeah, let's play a little bolero on it
yeah.
now. Okay, so I'm going to use some accompaniment here for this. Wow, it's fun to play bolero with an orchestra again.
Right, and your talk mic's off. But was that the orchestra machine?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. No, it's fun to play with an orchestra again, bolero. And I never thought I would say that. So,
That's so funny.
just kidding. No, this just feels like just feels great. I don't know what to say. That's just why I play these horns. I play all these horns because I know they're made well. They're very consistent. They have a sound that I like. Um, um, I think it's a classy sound. It's just burnished and round and just rings when you play it. Every one of these horns just rings in the room. So anyway, it just feels like extension of my musical mind.
And I'm glad too. all of this COVID stuff happening in March, we were able to actually do most of this testing all obviously beforehand because this model came out back in, I guess it was December at this point. So it's almost been a full
Mhm.
year. But yeah, it was nice to be able to do testing not just in our houses or whatever. We could actually go into the hall and you could play it there and really hear the ring, not just in a small space.
Yeah, no, Colin Williams is one of our artists, of course, Shires artist, and of course he plays with me in the orchestra. But I remember when we unwrapped, well, when I had the alto trombones, he was visiting up in Canada, and he tried the alto. He said, "Wow, this is a terrific alto," and he tried, I believe he tried the Q series as well. And so,
Yeah, he
you know,
texted me that day.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
that's
anyway,
fun. So I don't know, maybe if you have well, I guess if you have a minute while we're here, any like pedagogical tenor tips or things that you're working on with your students that maybe some of us at home can be like a fly on the wall, something like that.
sure, sure. Yeah, today we had our low brass class at Juilliard, and we had a guest um, do the class, Mike Roylands,
Oh,
the
nice.
tubist from the Boston Symphony. So he had some great things to say, and his concepts are sort of very similar to mine. Um, so one of the things that he's very he thinks that's very important is the importance of the location of your breath. When a student or player professional decides to put a breath mark in, you really have to think about what are the is this the best option? How to make a musical phrase work where when you have to breathe. So location was important, and also the amount of time that it takes to breathe and enter after that. Okay, so he said you don't want, to quote him, he said you don't want too much daylight between in these spots. Okay, so obviously it's a stronger phrase if you don't breathe, but eventually you're going to have to breathe, and you're going to have to breathe in some awkward spots. And so, uh, you know, in the excerpt, the other excerpt, Berlioz's Hungarian March, that's a perfect example of that. So I'll just play a little bit of that. So something like that. Um, to learn how to breathe very quickly and deeply, and also uh, not every breath has to be 100% breath. Okay, so if you know you can get from point B to C, okay, if you do take a full breath, okay, you may not need it, and also it's going to, a full breath is going to take extra time. So try to decide, hey, how much air do I really need to play this next section, and can I minimize the time, okay, of breathing, so that I can keep my phrase going. I think that's a huge thing for brass players. We think when we play, the playing is important, but the breathing is important. How we do it, and how quickly you can do it, and how you can keep your line going. Musical phrasing is another thing that I can talk about. You can always tell a player when they play a melody if they have goal-oriented phrasing. Okay, so what does that mean? Goal-oriented phrasing is you actually pick a note in the phrase that you believe is the most important note. So when you design your phrases, okay, you do have to figure that out. I would suggest every student or player, anything they do, is circle what you think is the most important note. So if we do the Weber Romance, okay, first couple bars, everybody has to understand what that is and how you should phrase it. I always start with that with phrasing. I'm kind of a broken record, I guess, with my students, but the appoggiatura and the suspension. You have to identify and you have to design everything to that and away from that. And that's just phrasing 101. But aside from that, uh, you in order to create direction, uh, it's hard to explain how to do it. Marcel Tabito, the great oboist from the Philadelphia Orchestra, and who was on faculty at the Curtis Institute. He taught John Delancey and many oboists. Think he's the god, of all oboe players. And the way he would teach, he used a numbering system. Okay. Um, to teach how to phrase, and I'm not totally familiar with it, but anyway, my system is just if you have a phrase and you have a goal, everything should move towards that. Okay, so if you played everything exactly in time, ba 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 ba. If I play a scale and play exactly in time, okay, and then I play it again the second way, you'll see what I'm talking about. Or I could play it like this. So it's just a little different shaping, but just something like that. You could, just to do a scale and say, hey, how many, where am I going in this phrase? So I chose to go to the B. Okay, bom bom. The second beat, bom bom dim bom 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 bom. And probably, if you took a metronome, you would see the metronome. Maybe I would be clicking up just maybe one click during that, you know. But that's called musical direction. Okay, and students have to know that, hey, you just can't play like this. No, you can't play with blinders on. Okay, so you're playing with blinders. So a horse has blinders, so they can't see on either side. And so if that were true for a musician, you would only see. The analogy would be you're just seeing one note at a time. You're not seeing where you're going. I tell the story. It's like somebody from out of town comes in and driving around town. They don't know where they're going, and you're behind that person, and you just frustrating to see that. We've all seen that. What is this person doing? They're not doing anything. They're just sitting on the road and confused. And that's kind of what it's like when you play an instrument. Okay, you have to be able to see where you're going and create activity, either dynamic activity or a little bit of motion as well. And so a lot of times they go together.
We've got a couple of people chiming in, some of our pedagogical colleagues, Dave Sporny and Don Lucas, who are agreeing wholeheartedly.
Ah, okay.
So,
Greetings to those great people. I
yeah,
love those
I
guys.
know. Yeah. I hate to like throw you off tangent, but I have a couple other questions, if you don't mind, that I can work in with you really
Sure.
quick. Um,
Sure.
so let's see. Actually, Carolyn just asked a good one, and it's kind of along these same lines. But what's your advice for developing trombone players beginning to learn orchestral solos and excerpts? If they're just starting out with that,
Yeah. Well, uh,
maybe a short answer. I know this could be a whole masterclass.
yeah. Well, never do an excerpt that you're not technically ready for. Okay, so it's fun to do these, and I would say more important than actually playing the things is to listen to them in an orchestra setting. Get some recordings and start say, what is this piece? So let's say something like the Berlioz Hungarian March. That's very technically demanding, mainly for intonation because you have a lot of half steps, different combinations, half step, whole step. That's the hardest thing, getting the intonation right. I can guarantee, just sort of 100% say that when you do faster excerpts, okay, like Legato Saladra and Berlioz' Hungarian March, the danger is to lose track of your intonation. Okay, so uh, uh, and so we don't go to the actual place where we need to be just because we're getting sloppy, and we it becomes, moving the slide back and forth every day in different combinations. It's very easy just to do this instead of this. That you're really feeling each note, and you understand um, what to do technically with the slide. Okay, so we were just talking about this yesterday with one of my students, and he was he was playing one of the Bach cello suites, and after a while you play it da da dee da 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 da, and you go through that. Uh, you're going to get tired with the slide arm. Okay, and what I mean tired is you'll just start to give up with any kind of technique because there's a lot of back and forth slide movements. Okay, and these are the ones that really get you. So anyway, I could go on and on about
Yeah.
that, but you got to keep track of technically what you're doing. But in the meantime, it, uh, and I would just say that that goes for solos too. We go into difficult solos, okay, and more technically demanding, and we don't deal with the fundamentals, okay, to play those types of things. So when the fundamentals are not practiced slowly and simple scales and just very simple things that are relatively boring to practice but are also very interesting to practice, if you dig deep enough how to do them. Um, if you don't deal with those things, and then you're faced with the technically demanding excerpts, like William Tell or whatever, or Legato Ladra, and you don't understand what to do technically, then it's just a real frustrating experience for players. So, um, the slide arm. I'll just say one more thing for the legato and the slide arm. You know, when I play my instrument and I'm doing, let's say, that Bach cello suite I just talked about, the forearm is really right about here is where there's a lot of command in how you do things. So we talk about being relaxed, right? But there's a thing called controlled tension. Okay, and that forearm, you have to have that controlled tension. When I play a Bach cello suite or I'm moving around a lot, yes, you want to stay as relaxed as possible. But if you're if you're too relaxed, then the technique and there's all goes out the window with portamento and all kinds of notes that are moving while the slide is moving. And so you have to have a nice controlled tension here. And sometimes I do feel a little tension in my arm. Okay, and that's good.
A balancing act, for
It
sure.
is.
Yeah.
It really is. Yep.
Another good question. This different tangent, but it's maybe a good one just to bring up. So when things do get rolling again, what's the plan with you still premiering the Chick Corea concerto?
Well, my doctor, who's a pandemic specialist, told me a long time ago that about this vaccine. Okay, so he said this thing's going to work. So, and he's right. He predicted exactly when this vaccine was going to start to come out. So, uh, the 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 Chick Corea Trombone Concerto was supposed to be in premiere with the Philharmonic, supposed to be in June, but that's not going to happen because we're not going to have in New York State is very, very tough with crowds and and concerts and theater, of course, and so that's not going to happen in June, unfortunately. But the other co-commissioners, okay, including the Sao Paulo Symphony in Brazil, want to go ahead. So that's okay with the Philharmonic. So I will get my vaccine, I'm sure, in the spring, somewhere in there, and I hope everybody else does, of course. But and I'm not afraid to take it either, you know. but I'll feel very good about getting on an airplane and going to Brazil and doing the concert there, because I think there 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 might be the orchestra, will be in business. I think there still are, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, that's the plan. Is the premiere will be there, and
And when
and
was
I'll
that
do
going to be for this Brazil
in
one?
in August, first week in August. Yeah, and then I'll do the premiere with the Philharmonic when the orchestra comes back to the new hall. So during this period of time, the hall is being totally gutted, and so I want to play it, with the New York Philharmonic in the new concert hall, with the real, with an audience. By that time in 2022-23, we're going to have an audience. Audiences will be back, you know, if everything goes well, and I'm pretty sure they will. So that's the plan. And then I'm supposed to go to Portugal to do it, and Helsinki,
Wow,
Finland.
amazing. Jeez.
Yeah, I got it right here. I've been working on it.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
cool. So maybe, I mean, we're getting close to about our hour time, and I mean, this just goes by so quickly with you. I feel like we could stay on here all night and just talk trombone. But we have another fun product that maybe we can tease about. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna throw this up here for everybody to check out on the website whenever you have some time. Mr. Alessi, do you want to talk to us about what this is?
Well, scales are important. I must say I test everybody. Any master class that I ever give, or even on Zoom, I'd say, hey, let's warm up. Let's warm before you play some difficult piece. Why don't we warm up with the scale? Okay. Now, with my own students, they're used to this, but I'm always on them about their scales, and I like to make it a random event. Okay, so I have this scale cube that that I got an idea a long time ago. Somebody gave me a paper mache scale cube, and the students and people, when I've done master classes all around the world, they find this very interesting. And so, just to keep your students on the ball,
Literally.
okay, literally, you got to bring this. It fits in your case, which is it squishes, a little bit. It's a little squishy, and so you just bring it around with you, and then when you haul that out, the students will start to practice their scales for sure once they see this. And so, so if something like this comes up, D flat, okay, so you got to do all your D flat major scales and all your D flat minor scales, okay, or C sharp, if you will. This is a prototype, but I believe on our scale cube there's an N harmonic C sharp
Sure.
on there as well. Yeah, yeah. And so anyway, because scales are everywhere. When I played the Wagenseil, just so full of scales. So, and how you play the scales is important as well. So that I'm not, when I demonstrated that one scale about how to play, it's not just play the notes. Hey, show me you're a musician and show me how you can play a scale like it's part of a Brahms song, for instance. Um, so anyway, that's our new product right there. And yep, and there's also going to be an excerpt version. Okay, so on each one of these panels, there's going to be a different excerpt, and so I'm very excited about that, especially if you have an audition coming up, or when that time will come, or you can just randomly do this, and then it says Berg three pieces or whatever, whatever's on there. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then we have it for trumpet, right?
So tenor trombone, bass trombone, tuba, French horn, and trumpet. And I think it's going to be pretty popular. So I think we'll probably end up doing woodwinds and strings and stuff like that too. Um, but we're all so excited about this. I linked the page. They're not quite available yet. You'll be able to, buy these from any of our dealers or throughout the world or online, all of that kind of stuff. But I think that the scale cubes might be available before the holidays. It might be close. And then the excerpt tools will be available after the holidays. But to be specific, they are technically dodecahedrons, but that was a
Correct.
little bit of a mouthful. So we're calling them the Alessi Scale Up and the Alessi Excerpt Up.
hmm
So keep an eye.
Right, I polled a lot of my colleagues from different places for the excerpts,
Yeah.
trumpet colleagues and so forth, to find out the most popular excerpts.
Yeah, we're pretty
So,
excited about it. So we'll have
yeah,
some more materials and information coming out about them. Like Joe was saying, he has the prototype. We just got the final box proof, and it looks really really great. So we're excited about that. We should start getting the scale ones soon, the excerpt ones after the holidays, and then we'll have. I think we're gonna do a little video with you featuring these products and stuff, and how to practice with them, and some of your suggestions and stuff too. So should be fun. So there's a lot of new
yeah,
stuff. Q Q tenor, Q alto, your custom tenor, and then the scale up and the excerpt up.
yeah. And I welcome everybody to give the Q alto a try, give the Q tenor a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed, and you're gonna like how it feels, and it's definitely a horn worth trying.
And one other just quick note, we're still doing through the end of the year in North America. We're doing $100 off on all of our Q series instruments as a rebate. So it's $100 off, and then with select dealers, it's 18-month financing as well. So it's a pretty incredible thing. So I'll link that here. It's seshires.com/2020 rebate. So if you have any questions about any of these models, you can read more on our website. You can also contact us through the website or send us an email at info@seshires.com. And once we have the official product for the scale up and the excerpt up, I think it'd be fun. We can do another one of these, and I don't know, maybe we can do like a cold call of people and make them do scales on the spot or something.
Sure, why not? Let's
That'd
make
be
it
fun.
a yeah, Scale TV, Shires Scale
Oh my
TV,
gosh.
something like that. We can have a prize or something, maybe.
For
See,
sure we can have a prize.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. I like
Now, yeah. Now, can I play them on Monday? Or we're shipping out our Juilliard Trombone Choir
Yes,
CD,
please. Yeah.
and I could just play everybody a quick track of one of those.
Yes, of course.
And okay, so let's see. I'll do. I'll play you the ending of one of these things, which I think is spectacular. So it's probably one of the greatest endings I've heard from a trombone choir, but I'm biased. But here we go. So
Yeah.
I'll share the screen, and um, here we go. Now, if that doesn't put you in the holiday
That's
spirit,
crazy.
I don't know what would. But anyway,
That's so great. I just linked the recording on the Juilliard store. And was there another link for purchasing it?
yeah, that's a list just to get
Okay.
uh, a list to sign up list to get notified. But
Okay.
it's being delivered Monday, and then we're going to put up another big advertisement about it.
And we'll share that on the Shires page too, so people can know
Yeah,
where they can purchase it.
sure.
That's so
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for doing this, and thank you to all my friends out there who showed up, and I hope to see you all soon.
This was a total blast, and thanks everybody, like Jojo said, for watching. We're going to keep more of these clinics going through the end of the year. So we're going to be featuring our Q euphonium, our new Q piccolo trumpet, Q tenor, the Q30 tenor, and a few other things. So we're going to keep everybody, hopefully excited through the end of the year with some of these Q series artist feature little clinics. And we'll keep you posted on the updates about the scale up and the excerpt up practice tools. And like Joe said, we would love it if you could reach out to your local Shires dealer and find a way to test or just buy that QAlessi Alto. It's a really incredible horn. We're so proud of it. And working with Joe on that instrument has been a lot of fun for us. So thank you all for watching, and thanks to you, Joe, for this awesome clinic. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, and have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Stay safe.
And yeah, okay, you too.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.